Hello. Do you like being alone in silence for long periods of time? Some people really do it. However, we have been actually spending time for nothing due to the impact of COVID pandemic. Let's see why anyone wants to be a hermit and discuss the vocabulary along the way. Christopher Wright, in fact, lived in complete silence or in isolation for nearly 30 years. Still, it might be really hard to understand why anyone chose to be a hermit. A hermit, okay? Throughout history and across cultures, there have been people who chose to leave behind the life and the people who chose to live in isolation. Why do they do so? Or why did they do so? Mokeri is a former librarian, and he says that in ancient times, many Chinese people seeking solitude were followers of the ancient philosopher Confucius. Let me read Mokeri's words here. I start with quotation. His dictum was something like, when the emperor is good, serve. When the emperor is evil, recluse. And so over 1,000 years, at least there were a lot of recluses, a lot of educated men who were unable to tolerate any more evil, simply dropped out, and they would migrate to small villages, to farms. These are the words of Mokeri. You listen to the word hermit, Hermit. What does that mean? It means someone who lives alone and apart from society. For example, the hermit followed an ascetic lifestyle. Let me give you another example. The cave was inhabited by a hermit. Mokeri mentions Confucius' dictum. That's the second word that we come across. A dictum is a short statement or saying which expresses some wise advice or general truth about life. Let me give you an example. My suspicious aunt is quick to remind us of the dictum that encourages us to keep our what is called energies. Keep our energies close. Okay, so that is example number 1. And example 2, Confucius' dictum advised that when the emperor was evil, people would become recluses. So what does recluse mean? That's the third word that we have come across. People, they are people like hermits who live alone and avoid contact with others. Okay, in the interview, Mokeri uses recluse as a verb. To recluse, K is the stressed sound. Okay, to recluse. But this is very uncommon. Okay, secluded. To recluse means secluded, isolated, or sequestered. So a more modern way of saying this is to drop out. Drop out is also another word that we have come across. To drop out. That means to reject the normal ways society works and live outside the system. Okay, and perhaps a bit like the hippies in the 1960s. You have heard the name of the group hippies. For example, he had injured his leg and had to drop out of the race. And another example is early pacemakers often drop out of a race before the finish. Okay, most people first encounter silence in bereavement. That is the next word that we are going to discuss. Okay, bereavement is the sorrow you feel or the state you are in after the death of a relative or your close friend. Okay, for example, I actually feel as though I have suffered another bereavement. Okay, and number two, his death is like a family bereavement. Okay, these are the words that we have come across. Before we wind up, let us recollect the words that we came across today. Hermit, recluse. Recluse can be used as a noun as well as a verb. Dictum and bereavement. Okay, thank you very much for watching.